host this morning is back again. We're broadcasting live from Channels TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. Glad to have you join us. Good morning. I'm Austin Okonakpan.
A very good morning to you. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
Okay, let's get on with the show now. More football for us in the English Premier League as Manchester United will undergo a test from Brighton. Relegation threatened Brighton, Yemi. And lately, all of the teams that they've been meeting are saying, look, we just want to stay up. Ask Arsenal, they will tell you. So huge test for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, Nigeria's Odioni alone.
A lot of people will want to see if the renaissance of United will continue. They'll be having good results of late, but like Austin said, it's going to be a litmus test. We're going to see whether or not it was a flash in the pan or that United have turned the corner. All right, let's move on the show and talk about a managerial casualty from La Liga. Alba Salades has been sacked by Valencia after back-to-back defeats in La Liga. Of course, sporting director Voro will hold that position until the end of the season. The team picked only 4 points in 5 matches since the season restarted.
Well, the season is almost over, so we'll just take that one in good faith. Let's move on to the United States of America now. Talk about the NBA. We were counting down, looking forward for the NBA to resume on July the 30th. But right now, officials of the NBA, I mean, we need to lean back, think, because Brooklyn Nets duo of DeAndre Jordan and Spencer Dinwiddie have tested positive to COVID-19.
All right, so that's how we start the show today with the NBA. Something not a good news, really, because we're looking forward to the restart in Orlando, Florida, July 30. But this duo from the Brooklyn Nets, like Austin just told you, DeAndre Jordan and Spencer Dinwiddie have confirmed. Usually, names are not released. Yeah. They just tell you 2 players from team. But these guys have gone ahead to confirm that, look, don't bother. Yeah. Let's just tell you the identity of the people involved, and they've revealed that. I don't know how much of an impact this is going to be on the July 30 restart, because some other sports have gone ahead because a lot of tests going on, and and they'll just say, okay, maybe it's just 2 guys and all that. But we'll see. But it's good. They're doing a lot of tests, before and after, just to ensure the safety.
Yeah, that's why I said they will have to lean back, put their hands on their chin and think again. Can we actually realize the July 30th restart date? It was DeAndre Jordan that went to Twitter to announce that he has tested positive for COVID-19. And look, I mean, what it would do, if you've been that teammate of this guy, or you guys have just been going to the back of the yard playing basketball, that's the problem that we're faced right now. Yeah. When Novak Djokovic was doing the Adra Tour, he had good motives for it. It was all about tennis. He wanted to touch life, was for charity, but look at how it ended. So for DeAndre Jordan and the Windy that have tested positive now, everybody connected to them will be like, what's going on? Are we safe? That's the word we're talking about here, safety.
It's a nightmarish experience, like you said. A lot of people who've had drinks with these guys, shared rooms with them, been in close contact with these guys. We started wondering. The NBA told us earlier, I think that June 23, that 16 positive tests out of 302 players tested. They had 16, and look, it's not just about the 16. Some will be like, am I still in incubation? A lot of, but like I said, this test will be periodic. So we're probably still going to, I hope we don't, but we might have some more cases, and we'll see. We'll see. Like you said, what the NBA will do, they'll let us know.
Okay, first, out of that the 16 that tested positive out of 302, the NBA did not disclose their identities. I think they should do that, So when persons know that, look, even our sports personalities
who appear to be well protected,
are testing positive, then we've got a problem in our hands that we need to deal with. And the NBA Commissioner, Adam Silver, went on to say, look, if we continue getting positive cases, we might just, call this off. That's what he said. Look, if this thing continues July 30, we might just put it on hold and say, look, let's just make sure everybody is safe, because we've got a problem in our hands. And the way this thing is spreading, You never know. You never just know the next person that will be, testing positive. So everybody just needs to stay safe.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody needs to stay safe. We'll see how far we go from there. All right, let's switch gears and go to Formula One. And Mercedes taking a stand against racism. For the 2020 season, they're going to be racing in a black car, car that has the design, black livery, because they're taking a stand against racism, and a good one for them because Lewis Hamilton has been vocal about
Yeah.
all of the things happening in
No,
recently.
He talked about it yesterday, and I'm sure if Formula One is not listening, then Mercedes better listen, otherwise they're going to lose a top driver because he's really taking this personal. God bless your soul, George Floyd, because everybody in the world now is jumping on it, and of course, black lives do matter. So they will be competing in a black liveried cars for the 2020 season, and they have unveiled it
yesterday.
Yeah, it'll be good. Mercedes have traditionally raised in silver throughout their time in Formula One, but we switched to black and have end racism emblazoned on the halo of both cars.
And we must give credit to Formula One. They quickly distanced themselves from some of the comments of the former boss, Benny Eccleston. And, of course, the Formula One is taking a collective stance against racism. Lewis Hamilton told us that a lot of this happened to him in the locker room that he didn't share with people. A lot of this happened, but because of what happened to George Floyd, he became bold that if in 2020 all of these things are still happening, then we should be talking about it. And it's got the backing. I mean, that's what I said yesterday. He's using his position in the sport to force change. The calls for inclusion and diversity continues with his steps. And I think... I'm not giving him all the credit for what Mercedes are doing, but his voice would have contributed a lot to what they're doing.
He said it clearly. He's not just telling us that Black Lives Matter. He's saying, let's bring Formula One to Africa. And so the first place that it will impact is his team, and that's what they've done. And Mercedes, they have said that the Black Lives Matter movement has shown a searching light on how much we need new measures and actions in the fight against racism and all forms of discrimination. I love this. I love this because we can actually use sports to end racism.
Surely.
Because it has also suffered so much.
Yeah, it has. All right, so let's move on from there and talk about something that has become the new normal, something that we've been battling with for some time now. We're talking about COVID-19. And yesterday was about Andy Murray telling us that, look, I have safety concerns. Now, stunning revelations from Rafael Nadal saying that he is considering skipping the U.S. Open. Andy Murray told us that, look, the way you guys packed this calendar, the top stars will start. Then Nadal's uncle, Tony, came out to say, what has been the worst-kept secret anyway, because Nadal has never really hidden, his thoughts about some of the recent things happening in tennis. So he's saying, look, as important as the Grand Slam is, as much as I want to keep a gap between me and Novak Djokovic, I might skip the U.S. Open.
That's what it is, And Andy Murray was straight up with this, that, look, guys, can we consider, can we see how we can touch this calendar once again? If what we can't do, we shouldn't do it. COVID-19 has come to disrupt almost everything, so let's learn to live with it. And it seems Nadal was waiting for Murray to say that, and then he just jumped into it right away. Yeah, the big guys will, of course, be skipping some of these competitions. Don't forget, they don't really have age on their side again. He's not as young as Novak. Federer, we know, since last season, has been choosing where to go. He doesn't go...
Trying to manage himself.
So Rafa Nadal... Look, anybody that doesn't go to a big competition, I have just one excuse. I'm staying safe. There's COVID out there. So it'll be good to see Rafa Nadal at every competition. It pumps up the arena. It brings good competition. I mean, we love his power play. He is Rafa Nadal, but we will also shake our heads, put hands on our chin when we hear that he has also tested positive. So he's staying
or
safe.
even got himself injured because of the cramped calendar.
There you go.
Those are all of the issues that they're looking at.
So we'll hear more. I mean, that's what we were saying the other day, that the danger of COVID-19 on sports is that even for the Olympics, if we don't get a vaccine, the big guys will stay back home because you can't... I told you at the Olympics, I counted about 15 person around Usain Bolt. If Usain Bolt even says at that time that he's going when there's a pandemic, maybe only 7 will say, okay, we'll go with you, champ. 3 will be considered, they'll go, no, because these people, they have a team. And it's not just about them. So if their team say, look, we're not comfortable with this place we're going, there are safety concerns, they are going to lean back, particularly with our female tennis stars. They are not talking now. Though Serena Williams says she can't wait to get back to the U.S. Open. She knows the love she gets in New York, but with people like Rafa Nadal and Andy Murray, even Novak Djokovic now, let him come out of this, you will see the tone will change. I mean, we love sport. We want to give things to the fans to talk about, but staying alive is important.
Very, very important. All right, so that's it. All right, let's talk a little bit of cricket. Cricket is another sport that has been affected severely by COVID-19. You have the Pakistan team that traveled to England. A depleted Pakistan squad, 10 out of them, couldn't make it because they had COVID-19. And a lot of people are wondering that why are all these test series and cricket matches going on? It's a unique situation because all of these games will go on while, it's like a trial. The first set of games that will go on under this kind of scenario. But the English team, not faced with everything that is happening. They're going to be taking on West Indies. Later on, they will face Pakistan. But for the game, the test game against West Indies, Ben Stokes will captain the side, will take the place of Joe Root. Joe Root, he's going to miss because he wants to be with his family. He's expecting his second child. But Ben Stokes has told everybody, look, don't worry. I'm in charge. We'll be fine.
And when I was evaluating some of the sports that will really, suffer due to COVID-19, for a minute I was like, cricket won't even,
because look,
not much of a contact sport.
There's always distancing. Cricket, golf, maybe baseball,
and all of that. But come on, we've seen it. Look at golf that just came back. Players are testing positive every now and then, and anything about team, there's this bonding, there's this love. They are always together. So one person gets this thing, it's a brotherhood, and then it's spreading it. So it definitely affected cricket also, and that was a problem. Remember the Pakistani team that had to quarantine in Australia for so many weeks, and then the test series was also called off. But good thing this one is going on, and Stokes is set to captain England for the first time in the first test against West Indies. There's been talking points from that one. Let's listen to it. We'll be right back.
It's a huge honour to sort of think about, and something that, obviously I'm really looking forward to if the opportunity presents itself. But also at the same time, I know I'm only stepping in to take over the reins for the one game because of Joe's personal situation. I mean, I haven't fully dived into the whole idea yet on purpose. I'm just waiting for the right time to do that. But yeah, look, it's still a long way off. So I'm sure when it gets a little bit closer and it's 100% confirmed that I will be in charge, then I'm sure the mindset will change.
So that's it. Ben Stokes are getting set to captain England in that match against West Indies. So guys, as you do this, please let's stay safe. Look at those bats over and over again. Those spin on the balls, all of those things that we used to do. Let's not do it anymore. We would like to come talk about it, but we want our superstars to stay super safe. That's it. Let me bring you into the conversation this morning. Sports This Morning on Channels Television. You can be part of the program, and I love it when you get involved. So talk to us on Twitter or channels_sports. What are you guys talking about? The last time I peeped into it, you guys are giving us reactions from that Instagram live chat with Super Eagles, former Super Eagles player Finney the Judge, a legend in any way you want to talk about it. He spoke on a whole lot of issues on that Instagram live chat yesterday. So let's keep that conversation going on Twitter. Channels_sports. We want to talk about the English Premier League match between Brighton and Manchester United. We also said that's a big test for Odion Hialo and his team. That's one. Brighton fighting relegation, and of course they're going to be playing at home. So Manchester United fans, get in here. Let's talk about that one. So yesterday was a good time with Finney the Judge, and of course when you get to meet the class of 1994, there's no way you wouldn't want to ask what made them a solid team. I mean, it was a packed team filled with quality from every department.
And the amazing thing is, in spite of maybe the issues they've had with each other, anytime they talk about that squad, they always say the same thing. That's what is intriguing. You know, some of them are falling out with each other, maybe in recent times, publicly and privately, issues around Yekini, Mafia, and stuff like that. But when they talk about the 94 squad, they always talked about it as, look, we loved each other, there was harmony, that we understood each other, there was a telepathic understanding. I can remember some games at the Nations Cup where, apart from the fact that we won, you look at some games and you nod your head and say, these guys really understood each other. You see Sunday only say, pick a pass without even looking up.
I know.
Just a pass and you know your kid is going to be there.
Yeah, me, that goal against Argentina that Siasia scored, it was between Rashidi Yekini, Daniel Amokachi, and Siasia. They broke down a 6-man Argentine defense. It was the bull, Amokachi, that won it. Gave to Yekini. Yekini did a dummy to Siasia, and then it chipped, and it was a fantastic goal. That was what Finidi said yesterday, that the moment he's with the ball, they know what he's going to do. The moment JJ is with the ball, they know what he's going to do. He was saying that, does that happen today? That maybe that's what the coaches should be trying to build, a blend, an understanding, and that's why it's a team. So when we see Brazil play and we go, that's what they do. 1994, we will never forget that class of the Super Eagles team. Finidi George had a great time with us yesterday, talking about what it means to live the dream. And the class of 1994, they actually lived the dream. He's been talking about the quality in the team. Let's listen to Finidi George this morning.
Yeah, definitely. We knew what we knew the potentials of each and every individual. You know, if the ball comes to me, they know I'm going to, you know, be tricky. I'm looking for that pass. Everybody, you know, if it goes to Amunike, we know he's going to do, you know, he's going to go on a one-on-one. He's going to dribble and give a cross. You know, we know the capability of each and every player. We know, okay, if the ball gets to Amokachi, what he's going to do is a bull. We know you cannot stop him. If it gets to Yekini, he's there to score the goals. You know, so definitely we'll get a team like that, but we have to know the strength of each and every player. I think that is what is lacking in our football today. You know, if the ball gets to Musa, do others know what he's going to do, what he's capable of doing? Do you react to what he's going to do, or you wait to see what he's going to do before you react? So these are the things we have to, you know, and try to figure out and try to build a team on that. You know, it's not just going into the field and play. You know, you have to know the strength of each and every player.
Bang. What else? What else do you want to say?
Thing to add. All the great teams in times past, there's that element, that understanding between not just one or two players, the whole team. You know, they understand each other, they know. And I think that's what missing. But to balance it out, I think we have to be patient. Before we got the 94 squad, there were a lot of heartbreaks. There were a lot of, I mean, I personally wept the day Algeria beat us 5-1. I mean, coming back from Maroc 88 and seeing how close we were to winning, then you come to another tournament and they told you it's a new team.
Even Algiers 90.
I mean, I'm even talking, that's what I'm talking, Algiers 90, and see Algeria. But, I mean, over time, things changed, and we got to a point where I wasn't even scared of any African team anymore.
What I like about this team is the consistency they showed, right from Algiers 90.
Down the line.
I think Senegal 92, and then Tunisia 94.
And USA 94.
USA 94. To an extent, Atlanta 96, they rubbed off on that team.
Like 70% of that squad.
There you go. France
94.
98, you know, until what happened against Denmark that Finidi George will address on the show this morning. There was this consistency. They were growing. That was what we wanted to see from the Super Eagles class of 2013 that won in South Africa. All of us wanted that team to, you know, they did well. Let's be sincere, because I think it's unfair if you want to ever compare any team to this 94 class.
It's unfair.
That's it. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, Finidi George has been reacting also to that loss to Denmark at France 1998. It says it was shameful. We'll talk about it. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back, Sports This Morning on your award-winning sports-loving channels, television. You can be part of the program. We're taking a look at what's going down in our world of sports. Yes, COVID-19 cannot stop us. Be part of the show. We're opening a thread on our Twitter handle now. You can follow us on Twitter channels _sports. We're asking you about the class of 1994. What memories of that team do you have? When you think about that team, what comes to mind? How can you describe that team? Finidi Judge said they had a fantastic understanding. What do you think of the class, the Super Eagles class of 1994? 1994, Yemi, they went on to France 1998. And everybody wants to forget the match against Denmark. I remember that one against Spain because it gave Nigerians joy. It was a beautiful team, but the way they exited that tournament was painful.
It's not just painful, it was shameful because I think Brazil was waiting for us in the quarterfinal. Yeah. Mario Zagallo. I mean, they wanted to avenge Atlanta 96. So they were waiting for us. And everybody, even the less optimistic people, because it was a good squad. It was an embarrassment of talent. There was that blend, the old and the young. I don't know, maybe in fighting or whatever, or maybe the coach not really understanding his players. But the way they lost was sad.
I know, so sad. So I had to put that question to Finidi Judge, that what happened in 1998, the way Yemi struggled to describe it, that's the same way he struggled, but of course there were issues. Let's listen to Finidi Judge again this morning.
Yeah, we're coming with that experience from 1994. A few players left the team. We had a couple of new players in the team as well. But yeah, a lot also. It's always our problem, you know. After winning 2 games, we felt Denmark wouldn't be a problem for us. You know, we won against Spain, which was the favorite to win the tournament, and we won against Bulgaria again, and lost against Paraguay. So we just felt, yeah, if we would win against Spain, Denmark wouldn't be a problem. So we were given a few days off. We all went to Paris and, you know, shopping and all sorts of, you know, enjoy our free day, you know. So I don't know if some players had excesses. I don't know. But yeah, we were like a shadow of ourselves in that game. It didn't go well. It didn't go well. It was not what we planned for, but yeah, for us to have gone out that way was a sad thing. You know, if we had given them that fight and at the end of the day they won the game maybe 1-0 or 2-1, it's okay. We didn't come short in any aspect of the game. For us to have received 4 goals before reacting was sad. Sad. We're all sad, you know. Some accusations, you know. Some guys threw some punches. I mean, not physical punches. I get you. Some, you know, that we didn't rest well. That was the reason why we lost. You know, we didn't take things seriously, and you know, some little arguments in the dressing room, and we were all disappointed. You know, I felt, you know, I haven't had that experience in 1994. We would have done better in 98. So that was not the case. That was not the case. The way we left that tournament was not. I don't want to talk about it. The 1994 one, you was okay. We fought for it. We were lacking experience, but yeah, 98. You know, yeah, cannot make an excuse for that. Cannot.
Even at some point, you could hear me in the background say, like, wow. Yeah, I mean, he said 94. We can understand it was the first World Cup. It was Italy. I think world champions, you know, and This is Denmark in 98, and you've learned your lessons in 94. So what happened in 98?
It's sad. I mean, there's no way you can spin it. There's just no. It was. I mean, it was lackluster. It was so many stories. You know the painful part. There's no football lover that I know that does not have nightmarish experience when you try to remember. At 75 minutes, 4-0 down. I was still thinking we were going to win. That was how much I believed
Because
in
it
the
was-
Super Eagles.
because it was
I kept on
Denmark.
looking at telling my brothers, 15, now we can do it in 15. Tijani Babangida scored. I said, oh, okay, yeah.
We started.
And then it was sad. If you're ever thinking of an African team after Cameroon that will have got into the quarterfinal, semi-final, even Pele said it was going to be Nigeria. That's why I don't even like when Pele make predictions. I don't want. But, you know, it's sad. We've seen Ghana do it. We've seen Senegal do it. And it's sad because we had a team that could have.
Fantastic team. That team of 98, particularly when you beat favorites in Spain, and then everybody's talking
we all
about it.
dreaded.
You said it, you know, that Brazil was waiting for us, you know, but it is what it is. It's football. So guys, let's keep the conversation going. We've opened the thread on Twitter now, so get into it. The class of 94, we still love them. We miss them so much, but we love our current crop of Super Eagles players, so don't get it twisted. We love all of them. We love Ahmed Musa, Alex Iwobi, Daniel Akpeyi, all of them. We love them so much. They represented the country, but class of 94 gave us memories that we're talking about. So how can you describe that loss to Denmark in 1998? Get into the conversation on Twitter. Channels _sports. Let's get on the road now. Bada Akintunde Johnson was supposed to be in the studio, but it's a wet day in Lagos and everywhere is jam-packed. So let's go catch up with him, know what's going on. Bada, good morning. Welcome to Sports This Morning.
Good morning, Austin, and happy birthday in arrears. Good to see you again.
Thank you. And today I'm in the studio. You're not here, but it's all good. Good to see you too. So we've been struggling to talk about what happened at France 98 against Denmark. Finidi stuttered a lot. Relive the moment for me, France 98, when Nigeria lost to Denmark.
It was disappointing, totally heartbreaking. We had such high hopes in this team that had conquered the world 2 years prior at the Olympic Games in Atlanta. A team that had gone within inches of the quarterfinals at the first time of asking in 1994 in the United States. We thought we had everything. We had experience, we had youth, we had a manager we believed, you know, could have seen us through at least to the quarterfinals. We had everything, you know, and to have lost not only to Denmark, which a lot of people erroneously believed were a weaker opposition. They weren't. They were your quintessential European team, well-drilled, well-organized, very disciplined. They had a game plan. They had some genuine world-class players like the Michael Laudrups of this world in that team. So they were not they had a Bisande. They were not a team that we should have taken for granted. But why we could be forgiven for having such hopes was the quality of our own team, the sheer quality of the team, the personnel, you know. Yakini, who wasn't part of the 96 Atlanta team, was, you know, back in the team. You had, you know, all of the right mix, Taribo at the height of his powers. You had, you know, a defense that looked solid, an attack that was brimming with so much quality and so much confidence. And having beaten Spain, like you quite rightly said, we believe that we could have beaten any team in that competition. We had every reason to believe. And that's why we got distracted, because we thought we shouldn't be burdening ourselves with teams of the quality of Denmark. We've beaten Spain. Let's focus on Brazil. They are the next, you know, big hurdle. So whilst we focused on Brazil, we took our eyes off the immediate challenge of Denmark, and we got duly punished. We got punished for it. You could tell the plan was hit the Nigerian team early before they settle, and they achieved that. They scored an early goal, and I think they scored another one before halftime. And you know, we just got sucker punched. We were in a position where coming back was going to leave us with gaps at the back, which Ebesand, Michael Laudrup, and those type of quality players could easily exploit. And they just went on scoring and scoring. And, you know, at a point, I had tears in my eyes. I wouldn't lie to you, because because what became clear was that we had lost an opportunity that would take ages, maybe generations, for us to have again. That was the golden generation of Nigerian football. When the Cameroonians had theirs, they went as far as the quarterfinals. when the Senegalese had theirs, they went as far as the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, when Nigeria had her own golden generation, for one reason or the other, we just blew the opportunity. And that pain, that hurts. That really hurts.
Okay, but I can feel the pain. I still have that pain. I mean, anytime I remember that game, the way we were beaten. But you know, for a lot of sports fans, a lot of sports lovers, that '94 team has become a benchmark. They feel that if we have a team that is as good as that, we'll be okay. But I'm going to ask you. I want to take it a step further. Do you think we can be patient enough that to get another team that will be better than that squad?
I think that certain key ingredients that we had then are clearly missing now. I think at the time, and I mean, it might be a controversial position or sentiment, but I'd express it regardless. I think that the level of government interest in sport, seen as it was an unpopular military government we had in place at the time, which, you know, especially from like 94 or 93, you know, upwards, was trying very hard to use the Super Eagles as a powerful PR tool. And so the sort of access that a Clemens Westerhoff had to the presidency, the sort of access that Westerhoff had to the presidency, the sort of access that Bonfrejo had to the presidency, the support from the sport ministry, the support that the NFF enjoyed. I don't think that it's the same landscape anymore. I don't think that you know, on a fundamental level, the structures are in place to support a sustained you know, sort of development of the team to a point where you have, you know, such a strong squad. Again, it's not like we lack less quality now in terms of just having players playing in Europe and whatnot. What that team had was continuity built over a period of time. If you look at the team that went to Algiers 90, you had all them the Siasias and the Yakinis in there. 92, Yakini, all them, you know, Finidi were on the brink, on the fringes. And 94, they came into their own. Them Amunike were added. Mokachi, and 96, them Ulisse had come in. You know, there was a bigger a pool of world-class talent that had been in and around the national team for about 4 to 5 to 6 years. Right about now, you have a revolving door that you really can't even explain. People come in and go. Tyrone Ebueyi, for instance, where is he? That's a player that played for us at the World Cup. He's a youngster. Where is he now? You know, you have quite a number of, you know, influx of players, and as they come in, they seem to go out through the exit door. So I do believe that what we lack is not the quality of players. What we need is some semblance of continuity. The nucleus of the team has to be consistently playing virtually all those games and must also be doing well at their respective club sides. And right now, do we have something close to that? Maybe not too far off. If you look at our team that, you know, placed third at the last AFCON, I think that you have a good mix of experience and youth in there. And if you keep that going with just the occasional introduction of quality that is tested, quality that we can afford to introduce, knowing that it will improve the team. The only basis for which a player should be introduced newly to the national team should be where we are convinced that they actually will be an upgrade on existing quality. Where, you know, it is clear that's not the case, you are just adding for adding's sake, and it doesn't move us any forward. So continuity will be key, because it was on the basis of continuity that we were able to build the strength of the team that went so far at 1994 World Cup and at 1998, and had so much potential to have gone even more, way farther than that.
I know, I agree with you, and that's what Finidi Judge said, that that continuity was what helped in achieving understanding. Let's bring it to the English Premier League now. Brighton test for Manchester United. Manchester United, I think they're fifth on the log. They're sixth on the log. They win today. They just close up the gap tightly on Wolves. Brighton, they are 15th on the log, but they are proving to everybody that cares to listen that, look, we don't want to go down. I think it's a good test for the Red Devils this evening.
Absolutely, Austin, you are very, very spot on. I think Brighton has been one of the form teams since the restart of the league. They've beaten Arsenal, They've drawn, I think, against, was that Crystal Palace? Or no, Leicester, actually. They drew against Leicester. And you know, they've come back stronger than they were before they left, when they just couldn't get a win or get a draw. The win against Arsenal, I think, was the first for this year. And so they can take a lot of confidence. And the other thing to note going into this clash is Brighton, the Amex Stadium, has been a difficult trip, a difficult travel for United in recent times. But you look at that United team and you look at the quality that they've got and how they also have, you know, taken to the field post the lockdown, the results they've gotten. Emphatic win the other day, I think it was 4-0, with Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba pulling the strings from the middle of the pack. And then, of course, you know, they've just looked really strong. Martial is scoring goals, scored a hat-trick, the first of his career, in that 4-0 win. You can see the youngster, the left-footed youngster that reminds me so much of Van Persie, Greenwood, you know, coming into his own, is showing a lot of confidence. Rashford hasn't really been amongst the goals, but he's been very bright and bubbly. You look at Odion Ighalo coming in against Norwich in the Cup, also weighing in with his goal. Maguire winning that one late on. United look to me like the strongest they've been under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So am I going to bet on them winning this game? Certainly, but don't discountenance a shock by Brighton. They've beaten Arsenal. They've come back strong. They've held Leicester. Who says at the Amex they can prove a very, very difficult challenge for United as well?
All right. Bada, let me quickly take you to Spain. A couple of matches in Spain today. You know, pick of the pack, Barcelona against Atletico. There's trouble in paradise in Barcelona. A lot of people are already talking about Setien losing his place. Antoine Griezmann, not a good fit for Barcelona. But what do you expect in that game?
To be honest, it's very difficult to mask the problems that Barcelona has got. I think this is the weakest Barcelona team in recent history. And the off-field incident around the club hasn't really inspired confidence. The whole charade around the transfer of Arthur, who I think is probably one of the best new signings they've brought into the team in recent times, reminds me so much of the legendary Xavi Hernandez, the way he's able to keep possession in difficult situations, how he's able to turn and twist out of difficult circumstances and keep team ticking. And you're going to exchange him for a like-for-like player, Miralem Pjanic, who is even older. I don't know the wisdom behind that transfer. And you can see that body language is just off. The other day when Celta held them, the players were pictured leaving the field and refusing to talk to their manager, particularly Lionel.
Okay, so that's it. We're having issues connecting to Bada. So Bada Akintunde Johnson, thank you so much for your time this morning. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I mean, aside the match against Brighton tonight, he's saying that, look, the Champions League sports will be a fight. Liverpool, they've excused themselves that it will be fierce for the Champions League sports.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard betting against them. Let's listen to the Manchester United manager talking about how fierce you expect the battle for the Champions League sports to be.
To be honest, I've not heard from them last night or this morning, so it seems like they haven't managed to agree. So the answer is probably short and yes. Then, yeah, I think there's many teams in that battle for third and fourth. You got Leicester, Chelsea, us. You got Wolverhampton doing really well. Of course, I'm sure Tottenham and Arsenal and Sheffield United still want to put the run together and put a challenge in there. So it's exciting. Must be exciting for all the fans. We've been waiting for so long now to have football that matters on the TV. Of course, we all want the fans in the stadiums, but at least now you can sit back and watch some exciting and important games.
All right, so that's the Manchester United manager. I mean, it's hard to bet against them these days. They seem to be doing well.
But football can be funny, and he's just trying to say, look, we can't push this much and then take the eyes off the prize, which is picking a place in a Champions League. So as I said about, they have to contend with some of the guys up there. Chelsea, Wolves, surprisingly, fantastic season they've been having. So let's see if they can sustain the momentum that we've seen from this restart And who knows?
All right, who knows? Who knows? It's going to be very interesting. A lot of teams still in the mix. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll talk about the managerial casualty, talking about Gianluigi Buffon and Chiellini extending their deals at Juventus, and also read your tweets on the show. Join us again. Take a look at what is happening in Spain, the managerial casualty that we talked about. We talked about Albert Celades is being sacked as the coach of Valencia. And Austin said, well, a few matches at the end of the season, probably take it in good faith. But after back-to-back defeats, a team that expects to be in the Champions League, you will always understand that this kind of steps will be taken.
Yeah, and this is a decent team. And by the way, they've told the sporting director to Vero to take over. The
Temporarily?
club, I've announced in a statement that Valencia, they've picked up only 4 points. 4 points, I mean, 5 matches since the season restarted after the COVID-19 break. Back-to-back defeats against Eibar and Villarreal, responsibly, left them 8th in the standings of 46 points. And this is a Valencia team that I think 4 or 5 years ago, consistently in the UEFA Champions League. And
we're churning out players.
Yeah,
David Villa.
Decent team. Yeah, very decent
the
team.
Manchester United current captain. A lot of players passed through the ranks. At some point, they had Pablo
A team
Aimar.
in their good day that can upset either Barca or Real Madrid, you know, push them all the way to. So
I remember in 2000, they got to the Champions League final. Did so well.
Yeah.
Many occasions beat Barcelona and Real Madrid. So that's been their story. And so it's an ambitious club. They want more. We'll see what can be salvaged.
But for Sunday, they just appointed last September. Can you just let him? I don't understand this thing with coaches. What will be hired, and next minute they're showing them the way out. They're not allowed to make mistakes. Maybe he's trying to build a team.
And that's why this guy, what's his name? Diego Simeone, says coaches are not endangered species. Because he looks at himself and he looks around. It's probably the longest-serving manager anywhere.
Yeah.
And coaches like him are rare. I mean, the best you get these days is just 3 years. Anything after that, you lose your job. All right, before we take your tweets, let's quickly go to Italy. It's a case of the older the wine, the better it gets. Just when you thought Gianluigi Buffon will finally quit after telling us he's going to do it next season, he's going to do it next season. You know, he came into Juventus squad this season after leaving PSG as a backup to Wojciech Szczesny. But now he's extending his contract. And, of course, Chiellini as well. Yeah. These guys are not young. Of course, you can't compare Chiellini with Buffon. But Chiellini is getting into his mid-30s. And the bottom line is these guys are still as good as it gets anywhere.
I know, and extending new contract at Juve. I don't know what to say of the quality of Gianluigi Buffon. 42, you mean, right? 42, and he's still going strong. Look at him right there. And there's just something about his presence, you know, comes with so much experience, you know, has confidence on the ball. Juve legend anytime, any day. I'm sure the biggest problem with Buffon is how do I quit? How do I leave this? Football is like that. When it becomes a friend, it's very difficult.
Like one American rapper said, the game keeps calling him back anytime it is. But for me, I feel for the younger players. How do they break? I mean, they bought Matthias de Ligt. You expect that between Bonucci and Chiellini, he's going to displace one of them. It doesn't appear like that's going to happen anytime soon. But
it's just 1 year. Let's see.
Good luck to the young guys.
Legendary.
But these guys are still in their prime. They're still
legendary. Gianluigi Buffon. I don't know where we're going to start with Buffon. Like, each time I watch him play, like, you could still see. It's like the Buffon you knew 10, 15 years ago, and it's still going on strong.
I mean, I first took notice of Buffon when he nearly made the 98 squad for Italy. And, I mean, good goalkeeper any day. I mean, I don't know what else to say about him. We'll celebrate him when he finally decides to retire, but he's still in his prime. You got a couple of tweets.
Yeah.
Let's read some of them before we go.
You can be part of that conversation on our social media handle on Twitter, channels_sports. We opened the thread asking you what you think about the class of 1994, and some of you are also reacting to what Fede the Judge said about that disappointing, shameful loss to Denmark at France 1998. And you guys are also talking about Manchester United and Brighton. I'll begin with Uche. Uche says, as regards the English Premier League, I think United should watch it because Brighton are on the ascendancy after the EPL restart. I totally agree.
Yeah, United should watch it. I think United, a lot of us Nigerians have been swayed by United, not just because of Odion Gallo. You have to say there's some kind of resurgence with United these days. Bruno Fernandes, I mean, it's going to be very tasty having Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba in that middle. Now that Pogba seems to have his head on his shoulders, I mean, everything going on well. It's going to be hard to bet against United getting into that top four, even though you still have Leicester, Chelsea.
And an unpredictable Wolves. So let's see what they can do. Polycarp, I like your message on Twitter. Polycarp says, I think we are too fixated on the Super Eagles class of '94. Can we help it? They were our best team ever, no doubt, but we can surpass their achievements even with a less talented team. Let's look more to the future rather than the past always. I think he has a point, but
he does.
But the labors of our heroes past.
I'm even looking at it.
This is a good story.
I'm looking at it from another angle. For instance, I grew up in a house where they love football. My dad didn't let me rest. 1980, he was always talking about 1980, mathematical. In fact, the day I saw Big Sheg, I told him. But the point is, when 94 team came, he stopped talking about it because he had a reason.
And the class of 98 don't want to hear that because they also think that they were.
So once you have a team that achieves, and look, it's not even what you achieve, it's how. We saw the progress of that team, how they became a force and everything. I mean, we were part of that process. We're part of that journey. And at the height of their powers, look, before USN had a four, I crossed my hands and said, bring anybody.
Anybody.
Bring anybody.
Look at the confidence they use in entering. You know, at the time, we went to rank to the top 5 in the world. They were feared. They were not respected. And what they did was they told us, the fans, walk with us. Take our hands.
In 1995, some comments attributed to the then Argentine coach Daniel Passarella. He asked Shuaibu Ahmadu then, when they went for that competition in Saudi Arabia, he said, what do you do to these guys? They're so fit. I mean, you have heavy-chested defenders, Uche Okechukwu, Uche Okafor, Chidi Wanu. Those guys would rattle anybody, you know, from midfield to attack. So it was well-loved. So once you have another team that has that kind of, doesn't necessarily have to be like the 94 squad like for like, but give us that kind of feeling.
I know. I would love it. Alexi says Super Eagles felt comfortable without taking to mind that all countries came to the World Cup to win the trophy. I agree with you. And they have no excuse because they had all it took to go far at that France 98 World Cup. Always keep it professional no matter which country you are facing. I think they underrated Denmark.
And they paid the price.
Paid for it. Joshua says, having another team like those in 1994 will be hard because every Nigerian players right now, their eyes are playing for other countries. But
I don't think it's a problem. I think one of this, like Bada said, and I agree with, the consistency. And that's why, look, I was part of this who never supported letting Raw go because you need consistency. It gets to a point where you can make a change. But for now, look, when we start having players who have stayed 4-5, this team still looks new. Let's see another major tournament. If we don't win that major tournament, then you can think of a change. But now I think we have a team that we can be proud of.
So, like, keep about 80-90% of the team. Unless someone's on a powerful form that everybody's talking about him.
Better than what you already have.
Then we say, let's come and see. Some of them come to the national team and fizzle out, but we just give them that chance. Let's just run through some of these again. Adion Chidike says, Super Eagles class of 1994 was amazing. One of the best squad we ever had. The loss to Denmark was quite unfortunate. I think we let our guards down. Gernot Raw can leverage on the achievement of Team 1994 and better it in our next tournament. We could go all the way. That's a good way to wrap up the show this morning. Thank you so much, Yemi. We got to go.
Yeah, we got to go. I want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of your day. Hope you enjoyed what we've been able to give to you today. And, of course, we'll be back here again tomorrow. I'm your man, bye. Over now.
Thanks for doing this with us. I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.